Good morning. Christos Anesti.
Alithos Anesti.
Christ is risen.
Truly is risen.
On the Friday of Bright Week, we are surrounded by the pleasant light of the resurrection in today's celebration. We experience a feast that signals our release from worldly sickness, not only physical but spiritual. It is a special day since we celebrate a specific place, various events, and a person. Zoolokos Pigi, the life-giving spring. The holy font is located in the great city of Constantinople and is known by the numerous miracles brought about here by the Theotokos. I would like to discuss 3 miracles of this fountain and how its waters reflects the shining light of Bright Week. The spring was initially discovered in the 5th century by Leo I, years before he was elevated to emperor. As he was walking down a road, he encountered a blind man who was lost, and being filled with compassion, he acted as his guide. Eventually, they stumbled upon a deep marsh full of mud, and the old man fervently requested water, but Leo was unable to find the source. He then heard a voice say to him, "Emperor Leo, take the mud, smear it on the blind man's eyes, and discover who dwells in this place, so that you can prepare me a suitable dwelling, and I will help everyone who comes to it." Knowing this to be the voice of the Theotokos, Leo immediately obeyed, and the blind man was given sight. In addition, the Virgin prophetically told Leo of his ascent to the imperial throne. She not only gives light to darkened eyes, but enlightens Leo towards the path of his own future. And it is through this miracle that faithful throughout the ages have a special place for healing. Another miracle occurred in which a pilgrim, hearing about the great miracles of the spring, wished to journey from afar to the fountain for healing. As he embarked, he became incredibly sick, and knowing that his death was imminent, made the company of sailors vow an oath to take him to the spring and pour 3 buckets of water over him before they prepared him for burial. He subsequently died, and when they made port, the sailors, being faithful to his request, took his body to the spring and poured the water 3 times, and suddenly he was resurrected from the dead, glorifying Christ and his mother. Following this, he immediately renounced the world, becoming a monk at the monastery for the rest of his life. By receiving life, the man freely offers it back, dedicating himself to being dead to the world. The 3rd miracle took place during the siege of Constantinople in 1453. There was an older man, and he was frying some fish next to the spring, when a young man ran by him and informed him that the city had fallen to the Ottoman Turks. Doubting in a similar way to St. Thomas, he stated, "The falling of this city was less believable than if one of his fish jumped out of the oil and into the spring." And just at that moment, the fish became alive and jumped into the water. And to this very day, the spring is home to fish that have 2 different colors on each side of their body. This story was so widely attested to that the place became popularly known as the Fish Church, even among the Ottomans. So even though it is clearly a holy site, why would its celebration be placed during Bright Week? The Pania, by the example of her life and by her unending intercessions on our behalf, continually points, reorients, and refocuses us towards Christ. Every miracle and interaction she has with mankind is only to give us the courage and strength to raise our spiritual gaze towards the brightness of her Son. Similarly today, within the light of Christ's resurrection and through the life-giving spring, we are given concrete examples, fulfilling the words of Christ, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." By the example of Emperor Leo and the blind man, we witness that before they both sat in darkness, but after being healed within the spring, they saw the way. By the example of the pilgrim resurrected from the dead, we can better understand renewal and resurrection in our spiritual life. And by the example of the fried fish, we can choose to resemble St. Thomas, who has graciously given the utmost certainty, bearing witness to truth. So let us conclude this bright week of renewal with all of the hope and joy of the resurrection, by being washed in the holy spring which refracts and reflects the Paschal light, freely drinking from the cold, refreshing water so that we can be brought back to life from our dead way of living, cleaning away our doubts and having a renewed and humbled faith, healing us from our physical and spiritual sicknesses so that we can clearly see the Theotokos' Son and our path towards his embrace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Christ is risen.